Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order and welcome everyone to the June 16th, 2025 board meeting. This evening we have a significant number of reports, but also have some very special end-of-year presentations and recognitions, so let's get started right away with the land acknowledgement. And I'd like to turn it over to the student trustees to read our land acknowledgement.
The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to the many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Schuylkill Island First Nations, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nations. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live.
Thank you. I would like to call on Trustee Carolyn Morton to welcome and introduce our recorded performance of O Canada for this evening.
Thank you. I am pleased to introduce tonight's recording of O Canada, performed by the 4 kindergarten classes at Beaver River Public School in Beaverton. Thank you to the Beaver River Public School kindergarten team of Michelle Mitchell, Julie Schaaf, Jasmine Silburn, and Leslie Theriault for organizing this performance. We hope you will perform again for us in the future. Please stand for O Canada.
Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, there are no declarations of interest at this time. Can I please have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda as distributed? Thank you, Trustee Oldfield, and thank you, Trustee Miller. All in favour? The agenda is approved as distributed. I will now move to item number 6, the consent agenda items. Prior to the meeting this evening, there was a request from a trustee to remove an item off the consent agenda for further discussion, and as a result, the revised bylaw 6B1 has been moved off the consent and will be considered later in the agenda under recommended actions. Is there any objection to the remaining matters listed in section 6 of the agenda being approved or adopted as noted on the agenda? Seeing none, these items are approved and adopted as noted on the agenda. I will now go to the Chair's update. Good evening again, everyone. With May and June being some of the busiest months across the district, both trustees and staff had the pleasure of attending many wonderful events this past month. We will highlight just a few this evening. During Take Your MPP to School Week, Trustee Emma Cunningham and System Lead Quincy James gave MPP Peter Bethenfolvey a tour of Bayview Heights and Frenchman's Bay Public Schools. At Westney Heights Public School, Trustee Donna Edwards and Trustee Kelly Miller and Superintendent Lauren Bliss welcomed MPP Robert Sajanic. The Empower Her Conference was a powerful and celebration of strength, identity, and leadership for young Black girls in grades 6 to 8. In its 4th year, this inspiring event connected students with empowering Black female mentors, sparking dialogue, self-discovery, and confidence. We celebrated the official opening of Beaver River Public School and a new addition to Mary Street's Community School. As the fastest growing school board in Ontario, new construction and major projects like these are integral to supporting student learning and well-being. In celebration of Jewish Heritage Month, Shalom Durham invited the community to gather for the evening featuring, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but I think it's Perifety, thank you. A traveling mixed media exhibit that spotlights ethnic diversity in the Jewish community. Attendees enjoyed an evening celebrating Jewish identities, tradition, and culture. On a bright and sunny Tuesday morning last week, over 100 participants gathered for the Ignite Open Golf Tournament, a day filled with fun and purpose. The event was not only enjoyable round of golf, but also a meaningful effort to support a great cause. The Ignite Durham Learning Foundation expects to raise approximately $12,000, which will directly benefit children and youth in DDSB. And I'd also like to add, that was my first time ever playing golf, and we won Most Honest Golfer. So I'll move on now to Caleb Kimani Duakep, a grade 6 student at Willows Walk Public School, has been selected as a runner-up in Habitat for Humanity, Canada's Meaning of Home. Caleb's thoughtful reflection of what home truly means stood out among more than 17,500 entries nationwide and secured an incredible 30,000 donations for our local Habitat for Humanity organization. It's amazing. And finally, more than $20,000 in scholarships were awarded to the Black DDSB students during the Durham Black Educators Network Cultivating Possibilities Award. This incredible event celebrates excellence, resilience, and the bright future of our students. We are also proud of all the recipients. Congratulations from the board. To all our DDSB staff, thank you for your ongoing leadership and unwavering support throughout the year. And to the students, we wish you every success as you finish the school year strong, and we hope everyone enjoys a well-deserved summer break. Now I'll turn it over to Trustee Carolyn Morton to share some wonderful news about Dave Brown, a teacher at Uxbridge Secondary School.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we want to recognize a great teacher, but we also want to celebrate a remarkable legacy. Before we begin, let us take a moment to acknowledge a truly exceptional achievement. Mr. Brown has been named one of only 3 teachers across the province of Ontario to receive the OTIP Teaching Award, a distinction that recognizes and celebrates teachers who make an extraordinary difference in the lives of our students and in the fabric of public education. There are educators who teach, and there are educators who transform. Mr. Brown, you are the latter. You are an unwavering force of compassion, of vision, and dedication. You have not only moved mountains, you have built bridges. Bridges for every student to cross with dignity, with pride, and with opportunity. For decades, you have stood as a tireless advocate for those who too often go unseen or unheard. You have made it your mission to ensure that every single student, regardless of their background, their learning profile, or circumstance, feels unseen, supported, and celebrated. Feels seen, supported, and celebrated. Perhaps no initiative captures your heart better than the Inclusive Skills Competition, the first of its kind. This groundbreaking program didn't just give students a stage. It gave them recognition, it gave them self-worth, it gave them belonging. And you didn't do this for attention. You did it because you believe deep in your soul that every child matters, that every student has potential and every student deserves a place to shine. But your impact goes far beyond innovation. You are a mentor, a safe space, a steady hand, and a listening ear for your students and your colleagues alike at Uxbridge Secondary School. You are the teacher students seek when they need comfort. You are the colleague who uplifts others with your quiet strength. You are the role model who reminds us of what true equity and inclusion look like in practice, not just in theory. And if there was ever a testament to your integrity, to your heart, it is this. When it came time that you could retire, you stayed. Not for recognition, not for reward, but because you made a promise to a student, and you kept it. That decision speaks volumes about you and who you are. Mr. Brown, you are not simply a teacher. You are a change maker, a builder of futures, a believer in the boundless possibility of every student. Your hope is to see inclusive practices expand across all schools in the Durham District School Board and across our province. Needs to be more than a dream. It is a legacy of compassion, representation, and unshakable belief in the worth of every student. I know that superintendents, many of them over here, can attest to your remarkable work because they've also seen you in action. I know that for a fact. So on behalf of our board, of our schools, of your colleagues, your students, everyone privileged to learn from you or work alongside you, we say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your spirit. Thank you for showing us what's possible when we lead with love, courage, and purpose. Congratulations, Mr. Brown. You are so incredibly deserving of this honor and much more. The future is brighter because of you. We also have a short video that we would like to share with you so that you can see a little bit more about the life and the work of Mr. Brown. Thank you.
You're watching Global Durham. This is Global News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Ferguson. It's been an exciting day for the culinary program at Uxbridge Secondary School as they hosted the first ever Inclusive Skills Competition for students across Durham Region. The event even had a few celebrity judges. Lexi Benedict has more.
It's time to batter up because the first ever inclusive skills competition is in town.
To see like the magic happen and all the kids doing their work.
The hospitality program at Uxbridge High School brought to life a day-long competition with students across Durham region to participate in a bake-off.
They are teamed up with a mainstream student, one-on-one, and we've designed a menu that they have to recreate, display.
The competition featured a series of judges, including celebrity judge Naz Cavallero, also known as Barbecue Naz from the Food Network.
Because I like to eat.
As well as Leah Daniels, country singer and also former student, who says the idea is revolutionary.
The culinary arts was always an incredible program, but to see where we are now with the first inclusive cooking competition is just so special, and the fact that it's happening here in Uxbridge.
On the menu for today, contestants were asked to prepare chocolate chip cookies, tea biscuits, pretzels, and to finish off, cupcake decorating.
Contestants have been in the kitchen all day and the competition is heating up. But Mr. Brown says he hopes that the lessons they learned from today will last a lifetime.
The learning that's going on today is just absolutely phenomenal.
Competitors were also judged on presentation, food skills, measurements, organization, and safety. The culinary program is already home to an inclusive skills hospitality class, where grades 11 and 12 students partner up with PLP students.
They were paired up and their partners changed each week, and they learned kitchen safety, food safety, and then how to make all sorts of food, from like pastries to pizzas to soups, salads, everything.
Which led to the creation of this competition, emphasizing inclusivity for all students.
This year, Mr. Brown decided that he wanted these students to be able to compete and show their skills that they worked so hard to learn.
I want to emphasize that nobody loses here. Everyone's a winner.
To be perfectly honest, watching the smile on the kids' face. They're getting an opportunity to do something they've never done before, and we're here to show everybody how good these kids really are.
For Mr. Brown, the dream is for Skills Canada to include more inclusive competitions for students in the future. Lexi Benedict, Global News.
We've heard it straight from the Premier's mouth on a number of occasions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you to your family for joining us. Merci beaucoup. Meg Witch, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to thank Carolyn, Stephanie, and all the people involved who put their faith in me and trusted and supported me. It's just been an amazing journey. Thank you.
Well done.
We will now move to public question period, item 8. Each question being asked this evening will be displayed on screen along with its response from staff. Only questions received via the online form prior to the deadline of last Friday at 12 p.m. will be addressed. In accordance with the established question period process, questions received after the deadline or via alternate formats are not eligible to be addressed. Questionnaires are reminded to ask only their approved question. We have allocated up to 30 minutes for public question period, and a timer will be visible for all participants. In accordance with the board's bylaw, if the 30 minutes are exceeded, any approved questions not answered at the meeting will be responded to through the website. To ensure adequate time is available for regular business at this meeting, questions received on a similar nature may be grouped together. All approved questions, along with their corresponding answers from staff, will be posted on the DDSB website following this meeting. All questions submitted for public question period will be shared with trustees following this meeting. The board's bylaws permits one question per questionnaire to be addressed. Supplemental or follow-up questions can be submitted to the next public question period or at any time through the General Inquiries mailbox on the DDSB website. I would like to invite Dylan Reynolds to ask a question virtually, which will then be responded to by Associate Director Jim Markowski.
Good evening, everybody. How is everyone doing today? My question tonight is about the modified calendar. A long time ago, the DDSB started to use the modified calendars both at the elementary level and at the secondary level. But since then, the schools that are on the modified calendar have been in decline, with classes getting smaller due to low enrollment, there's high absenteeism, and changes within the local neighborhoods around these schools. So I'm wondering, at some point in the future, if the decline continues, could we see that all schools that are on the modified calendar revert to the regular calendar at some point?
Thank you for your question this evening, Dylan. So I will start off and let you know that the DDSB still continues to monitor the impact of the modified school calendar on school operations. And while we recognize the benefits of returning all schools to a regular calendar, we remain committed to balancing this approach by understanding the unique needs of each school community. We don't really have any specific information to share, but as any further updates become available, we will make sure to come back and share those updates with you. That's really all we have at this time, Dylan. So thank you and enjoy your summer.
Yeah, we will be back on September 15th, 2025, and I hope for a great summer. This is the last public question period of the school year. It felt like a long time. It felt like time flew so fast. Like September, well, it felt like yesterday we were just starting the year, and now we're right at the end. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dylan. That concludes the public question period, and we'll now move on to agenda item 9, good news from the system.
Thank you, Chair, and I will turn it to our media team to set us up with our short video.
At the Good evening, everyone. At the DDSB, learning is about igniting curiosity, strengthening connections, and nurturing the well-being of every community member. On behalf of the DDSB students and staff, we're excited to share a sample of the amazing stories that highlight the creativity, hard work, and connections happening across our schools. Our DDSB students showcased their talent at the 2025 Skills Ontario Provincial Competition in Toronto, an incredible event that empowered youth to explore skilled trades and technologies. This year, DDSB students brought home 2 bronzes, 1 silver, and 4 gold medals. Amazing work.
The Forest of Reading is Canada's largest recreational reading program, created to inspire a love of reading while celebrating Canadian authors and illustrators. At this year's event, several schools from the DDSB joined in the celebration, reading nominated titles and getting the chance to meet some of their favorite Canadian authors in person. It was truly a memorable way to connect with stories, storytellers, and each other.
At this year's Entrepreneurship Student Conference, aspiring entrepreneurs had the opportunity to meet with mentors, showcase their creativity, and pitch their business ideas. Mentors hosted open Q&A panels, offering valuable insights and advice drawn from their own experiences. Afterwards, a student marketplace was hosted in the atrium, where students proudly showcased and promoted their businesses to peers, educators, and the DDSB community.
Mallory Maschke of Uxbridge Secondary School has been named a Loren Scholar, and Ali Fuda of Port Perry High School received the TD Scholarship for Community Leadership. Mallory founded her school's Climate Action Council and co-leads the Music Council. Ali co-founded his school's Black, Indigenous, and People of Color Club and contributed to the DDSB Compendium of Action for Black Student Success 2.0. Congratulations to Mallory, Ali, and all DDSB students recognized with awards and scholarships as they begin their post-secondary journey.
In May, students and staff across the DDSB wore green in honor of Children's Mental Health Week to raise awareness about mental health in the lives of children and youth. In addition, the DDSB hosted an engaging evening with Dr. Jean M. Clinton, a renowned child psychiatrist and advocate, who shared insights with families into encouraging resilience and well-being in our children.
The Abilities Track and Field Meet is not just an ordinary sporting event. It's a testament to the strength, resilience, and potential of every student, regardless of their background or abilities. This year's meet brought elementary and secondary students together to compete in standing long jump, running long jump, turbo javelin, target throw, softball throw, as well as track races.
June is National Indigenous History Month, and the DDSB staff had the opportunity to listen and learn from Chief Kelly LaRocca and Dr. Nicole Bell. In addition, elementary and secondary Indigenous Student Celebration Days took place in May, where Indigenous students from across the district gathered at Durham Forest and the Education Center to connect in community and learn from Indigenous knowledge holders, scholars, elders, and innovators.
The Anti-Oppression Department created a vibrant, identity-affirming space for 2S LGBTQIA+ students at this year's GSA conference, with inspiring new workshops like Off Tech, On Nature with Arad, Beyond the Ice, and sessions by MX Fit's Roller Derby, Affirm, and more. Students connected deeply with peers and community partners. The space radiated joy, belonging, and empowerment, celebrating every student's full intersectional self.
As you can see, the dates of significance takes us to the next board meeting in September.
Thank you to Skyla and Bomi from Dr. S.J. Phillips Public School for reading this month's good news.
I'm pleased to introduce the first of our special presentations to this evening and would like to ask Superintendent Andrea McCauley to share the Ability Scholarship Award.
Good evening, and through you, Chair. Tonight we are pleased to present the 2025 Ability Scholarship. The Learning Disabilities Association of Durham Region and the Durham District School Board partner to provide the Ability Scholarship annually. This scholarship recognizes a high school student for their excellence and one who will also be continuing in their studies in the fall. A committee comprised of members of both organizations, including Rowan Jarvis joining us tonight, meet together and reviewed the 28 received submissions to determine this year's recipient. Congratulations to the 2025 Ability Scholarship recipient, Addison Trott from Ajax High School, who joins us virtually tonight. Good evening, Addison. Addison's video submission, which we will share in viewing together this evening, highlights a journey of support, thriving in learning pathways, including on-job training, such as the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Programs, known as OEAP, and definitely individual achievement. Addison will soon celebrate high school graduation and will move into further studies in welding and fabrication. Addison's career path further contributes to female representation in the trades as essential for fostering equity, challenging stereotypes, and ensuring that diverse perspectives shape the future of skilled industries. Addison's perseverance, insightfulness, and technical skills are all well fitting to this career path. Introducing the 2025 Abilities Scholarship recipient, Allison Trott. Allison's video will be shared by a few words from Rowan from the Learning Disabilities Association, and then a couple words from Addison herself. Communications team, please share Addison's video.
Hi, my name's Addison. I was diagnosed with a learning disability later than most. So for many years of my life, I was confused and angry. But because everyone around me seemed to understand better than me, and they were able to read faster and spell better than me. No matter how much I read or practiced spelling, I just couldn't get better. So when I was finally given an answer to why I was like this, the clouds parted and my life finally made sense. But then a new problem arose. How do I use the resources provided? I was never one to speak up if I didn't understand because I thought it was a me problem. But that was a habit that needed to change, and that did not happen without a struggle. All of a sudden, I had an answer to my problem, but I had to be the one to speak up for myself. The people that helped me the most were my parents, but more specifically my mom. I'm lucky that my mom is a teacher, so she was the one who identified my learning disability and took me to be diagnosed. My mom would always encourage me to go and talk to my teachers and explain to them what helped me learn better. When I was struggling in math, she got me a tutor who also helped me so much. Both my parents would be proud of me, no matter what my tests were, a 60 or a 90, and they always cheered me on. Some resources that helped me a lot was Google Read and Write, more specifically the talk to text feature, because most of the times my thoughts move faster than my hands, so being able to speak my thoughts was very helpful. Grade 9 was hard for me. Mixing a learning disability and online learning was not great. I was not able to properly communicate with my teachers, and it was hard. It felt like all the progress that I had made with standing up for myself was slipping away. The advice that I would give to my grade 9 self would be that this is part of who I am, but to continue to push forward and set goals. When I'm put into a new setting, I'm going to have to learn how to adapt to my environment and find my resources and relearn to stand up for myself. But look at me now. I'm doing my apprenticeship and I'm an OES student. I signed up for co-op and I'm fulfilling the goals that I had in life. Thank you.
And with that, we'll turn it to Rowan from the Learning Disabilities Association of Durham Region for a few words. Good evening, Rowan.
Good evening, Andrea. That's just a foreign environment to me, so it was really a joy to watch her in that environment. It's an honor to connect with you all virtually this evening and celebrate an individual who truly embodies resilience and determination. Tonight, we recognize Addison Trott, the recipient of this year's Ability Scholarship Award. Addison's journey, like many worthwhile paths, began with a share of challenges. She faced many hurdles while learning that may have deterred others, but Addison met them with an unwavering spirit. By finding and utilizing the right resources, and through perseverance, dedication, and an inner strength, she didn't just navigate those challenges, she transformed them into stepping stones. Her story is a testament to the power of believing in yourself and refusing to be defined by potential obstacles. Addison, your unwavering commitment to your educational goals using the resources available is an inspiration to us all. We're also incredibly proud of you and everything that you've accomplished. The Learning Disability Association of Durham Region, in conjunction with the Durham District School Board, would like to congratulate Addison Trott, the recipient of this year's Ability Scholarship Award. Addison, would you like to say a few words?
Sorry, I haven't done this since Zoom. This means so much to me. This award is going to help me so much in the future. To be able to be hopefully a role model to girls in the future and other people with learning disabilities, especially going into the trades, means so much to me. So I really want to thank you guys for the award, the scholarship. It really means a lot to me on so many levels. It really means a lot, and I really hope to help share and inspire others in the future, and help other girls or even just people learn that learning disabilities are not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of and something to talk about and make more normal.
As Addison is joining us remotely this evening, this past Friday, Principal Alicia Russell and I had the privilege of presenting Addison with her certificate so that she could have it with her this evening. And we joined in a little celebration in student success and guidance with some additional educators joining in to be inspired by her video as well. Addison, congratulations once again on receiving the 2025 Ability Scholarship. Your video both moved and inspired. Wishing you absolute continued success again. Please join me in once again congratulating this year's recipient, Addison Trott.
The next item is the 2025 Chair Scholarship Award. As I make my way to the center of the room to congratulate this year's recipient, I would like to ask Brianne Olu-Cole and Trustee Jacula, Linton, and Morton, who volunteered as members of the Chair Scholarship Committee this year, to join me at the podium. Testing. Okay, it's on. It's my absolute honor and privilege to take a moment tonight to recognize and thank the wrong speech. 1 second. There's a lot of speeches tonight, sorry. Right, I'm coming back. Look, I'm going to look at you while I say the right speech. I am so thrilled to have the opportunity to recognize and celebrate the achievements of so many outstanding students in our community. And today I have the honor to present the Chair Scholarship Award. This is a distinction that reflects not only academic achievement, but also leadership, citizenship, and community impact. The Chair Scholarship Fund was established by the Durham District School Board with a clear vision to honor a graduating secondary school student who embodies the best of who we are as a community. This scholarship recognizes a student who has not only excelled academically, but also demonstrated outstanding leadership that goes beyond the classroom. Someone that advocates for others, engages meaningfully in school, and represents the rich diversity of our community here in the Durham region. But this recognition isn't just about what a young leader has already achieved. It's a celebration of their potential, their passion, and the positive change that's certain to bring to the world. And this year's recipient truly embodies all of that, with her drive, her dedication, her remarkable promise. She's sure to make a lasting impact in whatever path you choose. It's my honor to recognize Brianne Olu-Cole, a grade 12 student at Donald A. Wilson Secondary School, as our 2025 Chair Scholarship Fund Award recipient. Brianne's contribution has already surpassed my own resume. During her time at Donald A. Wilson, she has served as an executive member of the successful Black Student Association, promoting and organizing engagement activities which serve and support the Black student community within the school and the local community. She has served as both a peer and a mentor with settlement workers in schools, supporting newcomer students and families as they transition in the new school environment. Her work has included leading school tours, providing language support resources, and hosting informational sessions on school policies, schedules, and available services. There's more. She also has been an active member of the DECA, Business and Entrepreneur Club, and even developed her own short film through the Next Black Futures program by Vibe Arts. The list, it goes on. Needless to say, Brianna has demonstrated exceptional enthusiasm, leadership, and commitment, showcasing a rare combination of skill and dedication. Yet, what sets her apart is her humility and eagerness to keep learning. She actively seeks feedback and continues to evolve as a leader. Brianne's future is undoubtedly bright as she prepares for the next chapter in her journey at York University to study communications and media studies. Better watch out, Dervla. Please join me in congratulating Brianne. She's a truly deserving recipient of this year's Chair Scholarship Award. Now I'll do the right speech. On our next presentation is the end of term student trustee recognition. I would like to invite our 3 student trustees, Kayla Hoare, Nitishen Popula-Sandram, Shimpavi Vijay Akuma, as well as Director Williams Taylor, to join me at the podium in a moment. I'm going to read my speech from here so I don't get it lost. It's my absolute honor and privilege to take a moment tonight to recognize and thank our incredible student trustees as they come to the close of their term with the Durham District School Board. On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, I want to extend our deepest appreciation for all that you've done to represent the students' voices at the table. Your contributions have been thoughtful, insightful, and always grounded in lived experiences of our students that we serve. You have reminded us time and time again, my student voices must not only be heard, but truly listened to. Being a student trustee is no small task. It's a position that demands leadership, integrity, and commitment. You have served as a vital bridge between the board and over 80,000 students across our system, helping to ensure students are informed about important decisions that affect them and ensuring that their perspective and priorities are brought forward. You have facilitated the flow of communication on student issues and opinions, not only upward to this board, but outward across the entire school community. More importantly, you have done so with clarity, confidence, and compassion. Through your leadership as the DDSB Student Senate, a group that brings together representatives from every high school, you have helped shape a truly collaborative and vibrant student network. Together, you've organized board-wide events, led awareness campaigns, and created meaningful opportunities for your peers to grow as leaders and change makers. We are in awe of your energy, your advocacy, and your vision. It is no exaggeration to say that the future is brighter because of students like you, who care deeply and lead boldly and stand up for what matters. As you take your next steps in continuing your education, exploring new passions, and taking on the next leadership challenge, know that you carry with you the immense respect and admiration of this board. You leave behind a legacy of impact that will continue to inspire others long after your term ends. Thank you for your dedication, your leadership, and the difference you've made. We are proud of you, we believe in you, and we cannot wait to see what happens and what you accomplish next year. Congratulations so much, and thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And just as the Director, I'd like to follow up as well, because it's important to note that all of this leadership accomplishment, all of the impact that you've had on the system has happened while it is your full-time students. And so you put the student and student trustees. So while it is that we certainly recognize your advocacy and your impact on the system, we also recognize that you did that with a commitment to a high performance, high achievement, and you are in fact an example to many other students. It's been already referred to about your next steps, so I'll just put it in the public space. That we have Nitishan will be attending Western University to study medical science, a path that combines intellect, discipline, and a deep desire to make a difference in the world. Kayla is headed to Trent University for a dual degree in business administration and law in partnership with Swansea University in Wales on a global journey that reflects your ambition, Kayla, and your leadership. And Champavi will be studying biomedical sciences with co-op at Toronto Metropolitan University, a program that will no doubt benefit from your drive and your curiosity. So along with the chair, I'd like to just represent the fact that the staff too have been very impacted by the dedication, the commitment, the intellect that you have demonstrated and drive, because to do the work that the chair has spoken of and to achieve so that you are able to enter into these paths, not a small thing, and we admire the work that you've undertaken. Please take with you our best wishes.
Our final presentation this evening is the Parent Involvement Committee Annual Report, and I'll turn it over to Superintendent Candice Thompson.
Good evening, and through you, Chair Brown. The presentation is referenced in your package on pages 15 through 22. Tonight, we'll be providing you with a summary of the Parent Involvement Committee's activities for the school year. The work of the PIC directly supports the DDSB's multi-year strategic plan priority of connected communities by fostering meaningful partnerships between families, schools, and the broader community. Through district-wide events, targeted supports for SCCs, and a collaborative initiatives with DDSB departments, the PIC creates multiple entry points for parents, guardians, and caregiver engagement. These efforts strengthen relationships, promote shared responsibility for student achievement, and ensure families are equipped with the information and tools needed to support learning both at home and at the school, contributing to a more connected, inclusive, and engaged school community. I have the honor of introducing our presenters for this evening, our parent involvement co-chairs, Peter Aki and Gurleen Segu, along with Fatima Mutaj, our staff family and community engagement and partnerships coordinator who supports our parents in PIC. At this time, I'd like to invite them to share the presentation with us.
Thank you for the introduction, Superintendent Thompson, and through you, Chair Brown, we are pleased to be here this evening to share an update to the board from PIC Committee. My name is Gurleen Sagu, and I'm joined by my fellow PIC co-chair, Peter Aki. We'll be presenting our annual report on behalf of the Parent Involvement Committee.
The Parent Involvement Committee's primary goal is to provide the Durham District School Board with information and advice to help engage parents, caregivers across the district by undertaking activities to help parents, caregivers support their children's learning at home and school. This year, our committee consisted of 23 members as broken down on the slide. We met 4 times as a collective and participated in various events in support of family and community engagement.
Tonight, we will highlight for you the 5 key initiatives of this year's Parent Involvement Committee. Subcommittees consisting of PIC members and DDSB staff leads are in place to support each initiative to ensure that we're working towards the goals of increased engagement in line with our multi-year strategic plan pillars.
Our Family and Community Engagement Department produced a winter and spring edition e-newsletter featuring department updates, resources, and tips for parent caregivers. These e-newsletters were distributed board-wide through School Messenger, which is the preferred method of delivery as indicated by our families. We surveyed our readers and 84% indicated that they believe the e-newsletter is an effective tool for communicating information. They also shared topics they would like more information on, including understanding individualized education plans, IEPs, making sense of one report card, looking at the impact of programs in our schools. Next year, we plan to produce 4 newsletters using this feedback to provide timely, targeted information as requested by our parent caregivers.
Engaging diverse communities. This subcommittee has been working to ensure that there is well-balanced representation of program initiatives and engagement opportunities that accurately reflect our diverse student body and surrounding communities. Leveraging our connections to maximize opportunities within our youth and community hub spaces is the general mandate of this group. Hubs are located at Ajax, H.S. Henry Street, Eastdale, G.L. Roberts, R.S. McLaughlin, and Brock High School, and have been designed to be physically accessible to all. The subcommittee has laid the groundwork for advancing initiatives for both our students and families in the next school year to reflect programming that has been identified as a need, including, but not limited to, health and wellness workshops, resume writing and job clinics, social insurance and health card clinics, legal aid workshops, and more.
Now, research shows that parent caregivers who are involved in their child's education helps to support overall achievement and well-being. The ministry's Parent Reaching Out program provides funding to school boards to work with school community councils to lead projects with a focus on the identification and removal of barriers that may prevent parent caregivers and families from participating and engaging fully in their children's learning. This ministry guidelines for programs includes addressing social inclusion and racism, specifically anti-Asian and anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism and other prejudices toward racialized and marginalized groups, creating a safe and welcoming environment, demonstrating respect for parents' guardians as valued partners within the education system regarding decisions about the child's education, enhancing communication with teachers, informing parents, caregivers about the expectations of the Ontario curriculum and supporting resources. This year, over $80,000 was accessed by our SCCs to fund 43 events across the region.
Our next subcommittee was Parent Engagement Speaker Series. Based on surveys and PIC feedback on topics that were important and relative to families, the Parent Engagement Speaker Series hosted 3 different events this school year, 2 virtual and 1 hybrid. Dr. Robin Hanley Defoe spoke on everyday resilience and hope. Roland Achimpog spoke on overcoming obstacles, and last month, Dr. Jean Clinton came to our education center and spoke on how we can support our children and youth to thrive. In total, we had over 1,200 participants in attendance. For the virtual session, select schools also hosted watch parties, where families could join together to watch the talks and engage with one another in person. The Family and Community Engagement Department supported these parties with food, stipend, and prizes for attendees. Based on family feedback, our subcommittee is finalizing our 2025-2026 speaker series roster, continuing with a requested focus on mental health and well-being.
Now, this year, our Family and Community Engagement Department hosted 3 local regional SCC meetings. This was a pivot in response to feedback from last year, where only 1 central meeting was held. We met at St. Clair Secondary School, Port Perry High School, and J. Clark CVI, respectively. In addition to departmental information and networking opportunities, attendees were treated to the culinary expertise of the students at each of the meeting locations. Their professionalism and tasty treats were a highlight of the night. Now, another highlight was the local community organization resource tables, which provided participants the opportunity to bring back materials to share with the rest of the school's SCC. Looking ahead to next year, to be more responsive to individual school community area needs, we will plan to host 4 meetings combining both local and central offerings. Our SCC chairs look forward to these meetings, which are always well attended and receive lots of positive feedback. We will continue to explore ways we can further equip them for success with the support of the PIC. Also on October the 17th, the PIC was joined by our trustees, Director of Education, superintendents, administrators, and staff for our annual Volunteer of Distinction Recognition evening. The event acknowledges and celebrates volunteers from schools across the board as nominated by the principal and SCC for their commitment and work within the school. Recognizing the contributions from the previous school year, we were delighted to recognize over 100 volunteers during an event, including an award ceremony, entertainment, photographs, and a reception with delicious treats prepared by the culinary students. The importance of volunteers in DDSB cannot be overstated. From leading reading groups, supporting nutrition programs, to organizing fundraisers, chaperoning field trips, and working alongside our staff to plan school events, volunteers and their selfless acts help to fuel our students' growth, and we will not be able to have as great of an impact without them. We are so grateful to each one.
Thank you, Peter and Gerline. Lastly, we want to share some of the initiatives we already have underway to make the next year even more engaging. We are actively recruiting new PIC members via our DDSB website to fill vacant spots for the upcoming school year. A social media campaign will follow so that positions can be filled by the start of the new year. To further support the sharing of important DDSB information with our families, we endeavor to provide monthly central slide updates to SCCs for use in their school-based meetings and communications. Further, We will be sharing regular video updates from our PIC area representative members to their local community to help bridge the gap between PIC and SCCs and ensure all voices are represented at the table. We will increase the frequency of our PIC and regional SCC meetings from 4 to 5 respectively to aid in connection and support. Finally, we will continue with the efforts we've already shared about tonight, including our various subcommittees, speaker series, e-newsletters, and volunteer of distinction ceremony. Many exciting initiatives have taken place over the past year that we are extremely proud of. We continue to evolve and look for more ways to increase engagement, as we know that building strong and effective partnerships with families and communities help children thrive.
We are thankful for the opportunities PIC provides to be a valued voice at the table, and thank everyone, including the DDSB staff members on the committee, for their time and efforts this year. Welcome any questions or comments you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions from trustees? Trustee Edwards.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And first and foremost, I want to thank the co-chairs for all the work that you do and working with the PIC. You've increased basically engagement in many of the events, and the opportunities for parents to be involved or to hear what's going on within the board and within their schools. So again, thank you for your commitment at this point in time. It's amazing the things that you've done. I'm just even looking at one of the speaker series, having over 930 virtual participants. That's amazing. So, and the fact that the e-newsletter, again, 83% of the people said, and they think, receiving that e-newsletter is just phenomenal for a way of communication. I just had a question though around the newsletter, in that I've gone to the board's website and the pics, and they have all the speaker series there, links to the videos and so forth. But I'm just wondering if there's a possibility of actually putting the e-newsletters up there, so that parents can look at what has happened in the past and give them, especially new parents coming in, to say, what's PIC all about, what's our SCCs about, and just wondering if we could do that as further information.
Yep. Yeah, I will. We'll communicate that with Superintendent. I don't think that would be an issue to have like an archive where we can have that information for newcomers to see exactly what the PIC is doing. I think it's a good idea, and it's something which I definitely would take back. We'll take back to the superintendent and have that set up. Sure. No problem.
Thank you. Trustee Linton.
Thank you. And again, just want to extend my heartfelt congratulations and appreciation for you all, working with you with the PIC committee. The community voice is at the heart of what I do, and just the diversity and the courageous conversations that you continue to have, and asking the tough questions. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with all of you, and to have a fellow Pickering resident and with me, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds for you all. So thank you.
Trustee Pinello.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I echo much of the gratitude and want to also extend my heartfelt thank you. From the very first meeting after I was able to be an alternate for PIC, it was very evident to me that it's a very special and dedicated group of people who make all of this work happen. And so to see the snapshot of it come forward is very special, and you should all be very incredibly proud of the work that you've done. The only thing, it's not so much a question, but more of a slight nudge, and trustees around the table have heard me a couple of times, but we have heard so much feedback on folks just not understanding how the budget works. And so as we are navigating our Education Finance Committee and we had a phenomenal session, I believe in the fall, that staff put on for us to understand how our budget envelopes work. Would love to look at partnering for the next year so that we can share that with SCCs or with other parents across the district who just want to understand a little bit better how we fund this whole operation. So I give that to you in the hopes that it can become something magical, and I thank you again for your work.
Yes, I think it's a good idea. I think even with the budgeting stream, the SCCs from the elementary level and the secondary level is totally different. So I think it's a good idea to have that disseminated as well. So that is something which we definitely will explore as well moving forward for sure. So thanks.
Thank you so much. Seeing there's no further questions, I will now move to recommended actions. Item 11, so it's the 2025-26 Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan, and I will hand it over to Superintendent Andrea McCauley, Superintendent Lauren Bliss.
Thank you, through you, Chair. The purpose of this report, which begins on page 23 of tonight's agenda, is to seek approval from the Board of Trustees to adopt the DDSB Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan for 2025-2026. The plan was presented to trustees in draft on June 2nd for information and feedback. The feedback received and embedded in the plan is provided in the report, inclusive of the details of the number by type of special education class placements and important language amplifying our shared commitments to inclusion, including addressing ableism. The Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan is posted publicly on the DDSB website, and feedback on programs and services reflective in the plan is welcome throughout the year. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees consider the Special Education Plan and programs for 25-26 school year for approval through motion of the Board. The proposed recommendation is found on page 26 of tonight's agenda. Thank you.
Are there any questions from trustees? Or
Motion forward.
Trustee Edwards?
Thank you. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan for the 2025-2026 school year.
Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Trustee Morton. Is there any discussion?
I just want to thank staff very much for including some of the comments and so forth from all basically our community partners as well as from our standing committee. Again, it really true, this plan truly shows basically, especially in the language, to support our neurodiverse students I again appreciate all the work that's been done to put the plan together. Thank you.
Trustee Jacquelin?
Thank you very much. I'm glad to see that there's an evaluation going on with respect to the gifted program, and I would encourage those conducting the evaluation to look at the current academic studies regarding what is the best way to support our gifted students. Given the questions we've had at the board and the numerous emails that we trustees have received, we know that this topic is being closely followed by the parents and members of the public. And I hope that the evaluation will be thorough and detailed with an openness towards any recommendations and conclusions. And I say this because the DDSB website has already changed the language about what the DDSB prioritizes and recommends regarding the gifted program. Over the winter, the language changed from, quote, "This is why we recommend placement in a full-time gifted program," end quote, to now it says, quote, before considering a special education class placement, the DDSB prioritizes placing students in regular classes with appropriate special education services, end quote. And I would just hate to see the board receive negative feedback from the public that a decision had already been made or a proper and thorough evaluation was done.
Seeing there's no more questions, I will ask all those in favour. Can you please show your check mark? Any opposed? Thank you. That motion is carried. I will now move to the rescheduling of the October 2025 Standing Committee and Board meetings. And I will go to General Counsel Cotter and Senior Manager Dervla Kelly.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. The report can be found starting at page 27 of the agenda package. As trustees will note in the report, we have a couple of days of significance that are coming up, and we're proposing that those dates of significance be respected and that the meetings be changed to the dates set out in the report. We've also noted that, of course, the bylaws are up for amendment tonight, and the new bylaws provide that the annual calendar, when it's presented to the Board of Trustees, will account for dates of significance. So this will hopefully be the last time this type of issue is, the board will have to deal with this type of issue mid-year, as they should be accounted for in the annual calendar that's presented to you. So we're looking to reschedule the meetings, the meeting of October 6th and the meeting of October 20th. Those would be removed and they would be rescheduled to September 29th and Tuesday, October 21st. Subject to any questions you may have, that is our recommendation. And I should note, Chair, as well, that pursuant to the terms of the bylaws, changing the annual schedule of meetings requires a 2/3 majority.
Do I have a trustee that would like to put a motion on the floor? Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Not to overcomplicate this, and I support this motion, I just wanted to, for information, in Judaism, we have our holidays, and then our big holidays are called Yom Tov. And the first 2 days of Sukkot and the last 2 days of Sukkot are Yom Tov, and those are the ones that we cannot work or do anything major, but the 5 days in between are actually okay to schedule and have regularly scheduled events. So for simplicity, I think I'm going to put forward the motion that we adopt these dates that are on the calendar, but just for future reference, the 5 days in the middle are fair to schedule on. But I do move that we accept the recommendation for the proposed meeting dates.
Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Trustee Thatcher. Is there any discussion? Oops, thank you. So we will now move to, got to call the vote, sorry. So all those in favour? Okay. So this carries by a 2/3 majority, which will be on record. All those that Thank you. That motion is carried. So I will now move to the item removed from the consent agenda, which was item 6B1, which is the adoption of the following resolutions from the Governance and Policy Committee meeting of May 28, 2025, which the committee recommended to the board that the Board of Trustees approve the revised language of the consolidated bylaws included in as Appendix A of the report presented to the Governance and Policy Committee as its May 28th, 2025 meeting. I will now go to Trustee Edwards as she had brought forward the motion or the recommendation.
Thank you, and I asked this item to be pulled, particularly just around one section, and that is section 4.2.6. Dealing with the committee of the whole may also meet in closed session prior to any regular board meeting on a regular committee of the whole standing or committee of the whole standing meeting. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing concerns about that particular section is that what that does is that the in-camera meetings are not considered regular meetings, and that a trustee then, as far as attendance is concerned, can miss every in-camera meeting. The important thing is that the in-camera meetings, we have discussions around around labor, legal issues, and property matters, which is one key items that are discussed that we're fiscally responsible for under the Education Act. And so, which basically, one of the key items under 169.1 is to ensure effective stewardship of the board's resources. And it goes, that's financially as well as property is concerned. Without a trustee if a trustee does not attend the in-camera meetings, they will not be informed of the decisions, of the conversations that we have around fiscal matters and that affect the impact of the board. I just have a real problem the way the bylaw, that part of it is concerned. As I said, the rest of it is not an issue. So at this point in time, I'll just say that because we have the deadline of August 15th, I have no problem going ahead and passing it, but I have a huge concern where we're basically, there's a possibility of trustees basically not paying attention to their legal duty of being informed and making decisions based on information that is provided in in-camera meetings. Thank you.
Are there any trustees willing to move the recommendation? Thank you, Trustee Oldfield. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Trustee Cunningham. Is there any discussion? Trustee Miller?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Just a point of clarification. That section that was read by Trustee Edwards, I would just like to clarify the terms in terms of if that's regular meeting or if it's, I just would like a clarification on that line with the terms. Thank you.
So the amendments to the bylaws clarified what counts as a regular meeting, because the regular meeting of the Committee of the Whole and regular meeting of the Board under the terms of the Education Act are now mandatory for physical attendance. And if you're not going to be physically able to attend, there's a risk that the seat can be vacated unless you've got permission of the chair to attend electronically, and that's only in limited circumstances. So the bylaws have been clarified to, under section 5.7, to specify what counts as a regular meeting of the committee of the whole and a regular board meeting. And as Trustee Edwards has correctly noted, the way the draft came out of the governance committee is that the in-camera sessions that typically occur or can typically occur prior to a regular committee of the whole meeting or a regular board meeting will not be included in the definition under this board's bylaws of a regular committee meeting or a regular board meeting. Meaning that, as Trustee Edwards says, that if you fail to attend or you attend electronically without permission, you would not vacate your seat in those circumstances.
Trustee Pinello?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I think maybe my question was answered, but I was just looking for clarification because it sounded like the concern was about trustee preparation, which we have in camera minutes. And so I was not necessarily clear on whether it was a concern about whether or not we had access to information that occurred in those in-camera meetings, or if it was a matter of rather whether they were counted by definition within the policy. And so I'm hearing that it's more about the definition of the policy, and that was just a build-off argument from the concern. So I think that's answered my question, but if anyone wants to add clarification further, I welcome that.
Councillor Costa, can you please clarify?
I'm happy to respond. Trustee Edwards can correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand the concern is that the way the bylaws are drafted, a trustee could attend a in-camera meeting electronically without permission, or could miss an electronic meeting an in-camera meeting and not vacate their seat. So Trustee Edwards' concern is that trustees could miss several and miss important business, and they would not vacate their seat in those circumstances.
Are there any more questions from trustees or points of clarification? Trustee Miller?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I'm just wondering if there would be possibility for any slight revision to the language, only because I'm just wondering, although we spent quite a bit of time to create something to set in our bylaws so that we would not have, we would make it equitable and make the concern about seat vacancy not as stringent as what was proposed through the ministry. So I'm just wondering if there would be any consideration of any change in language, or would it make a difference or impact at this stage?
Thank you. And through you, Chair Brown. So just a couple points of clarification. The board's requirements as set out in the bylaws are not less stringent than the ministry requirements. The ministry requirements speaks to regular meetings, regular board meetings and regular committee of the whole meetings. This bylaw just clarifies what we're including within that definition. You know, the board is free to amend it should it choose, but the concern that I'll put on the table is that these provisions are mandatory as of September 1st. Trustee Edwards raised the suggestion, and I think it makes sense that this gets passed so that there is certainty as to the lay of the land as of September 1st, and if, you know, the board can always revise it, sometime during the year next year, either to be effective immediately or to take effect September 1st, 2026. That would be up to the board, but you know, the risk in not passing this now is that, you know, the board doesn't have clarity come September 1st when the mandatory attendance requirements kick in.
All those in favour? Any opposed? Thank you. That motion is carried. So we'll move to item number 12, information items. We have 2025-26 official enrolment projections, and I will move to Associate Director Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, it's my pleasure to welcome and introduce Lisa Bianca, Head of Facilities Services, who is joining us this evening to present this report.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. I'm here this evening to share with trustees the official enrollment projections for the 25-26 school year. Facilities planning staff, in conjunction with workforce planning and business services teams, have developed these OEP for the coming school year. The OEP are used by a variety of departments and staff across the district and are used to inform the development of the budget as well as allocation of staffing for the coming year. Also crucially important, the OEP are used to determine future school needs, the need for boundary program revisions, and where temporary accommodations and portables are needed. We are anticipating an overall enrollment increase of 1,370 pupils from our October 2024 enrollment. This is split roughly between the elementary and secondary panels. This is a far more modest increase than that which was anticipated last year, as we have witnessed a general slowing of new construction occupancies and development in general. This growth is coming, but at a slower pace than earlier predicted. We continue to see enrollment exceed capacity at the elementary level and are awaiting the call for submissions for capital priorities requests from the ministry, and that is expected this summer. In the meantime, we will utilize portables, all available space within our existing schools and facilities, and accommodate all student needs. In September, staff will present the Accommodation Plan 2025 to 2029, Trends, Issues, and Future Opportunities, which will address the current and future accommodation needs in greater detail. Thank you, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from trustees? Trustee Linton?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So I was looking at the projection for Josiah Henson, and you know, as you smiled, there's a significant growth predicted over, you know, overall in the next 5 years. So just wanted to ask about the accuracy. So, you know, are you, like, what is the margin of error here in terms of, are we expecting, you know, the growth, which is, you know, over the 5 years would be, you know, 57.4% overall, with an expected growth between 2025 to 2027 of, you know, 34.6%. So given that, and it's a newer school, what is the plan? And then do you actually believe that these projections are accurate?
Thank you for your question. With our current information that we have at hand, the development forecast from the municipalities, the strong direction from the province for building more homes and developing housing for people of Ontario, we do believe there is strong growth coming. All of the information we have, all of the data we have points to that. And even, as you know, a drive through the Seton area, the houses are just springing out of the ground quite regularly. Having said that, we have to remember that the data in this report is what I'd call unmitigated. So it's within the area of the current boundary for Josiah Henson. If everybody moved in between next year and 2029, that's how many students we could very reasonably expect. Having said that, when we present the accommodation plan, we will start to make plans and frame out how are we going to manage these students. Clearly, they can't all go to Josiah Henson, but we have another 5 elementary school sites in that area. So that's where we start to do our planning, and this is the this data is the trigger for us to go after that other site, go after more capital priorities. So eventually the Josiah Henson boundary will shrink down as we build more schools. There's a number of schools, you'll see in the enrollment projections that are well north of 1,000 students. And we know that's not manageable for elementary schools, but it is our indicator to make plans, look for solutions, be it a boundary review or a new capital priorities project. So we are comfortable with the numbers, I must say. It is a bit slower than we had anticipated, but there is a lot of housing coming.
Trustee Thatcher?
Thank you. I do have a comment and then just a quick question. I understand that the Durham Catholic District School Board has expanded their French immersion program fairly recently. I'm just wondering, in terms of the enrollment, which I think are quite conservative this year, I just wondered if that was something that was taken into consideration in the enrollment projections.
Thank you for your question. We didn't take the Durham Catholic School Board's French immersion program directly into consideration. When we were evaluating our French immersion projections, we look at the number of students that are basically progressing through the system as we age students from one grade to the other. And many areas in Brooklyn, particularly you'll see Brooklyn Village, has a significant amount of in-area growth. And we know that there will be a small percentage of those new families coming in that will choose French immersion as their education option. So it is built into those projections. We tend to be quite conservative in that regard because it's fairly difficult to predict who's moving into a neighborhood that already has had their children attend French immersion in another district. So we are conservative, but we have built something in, yes.
Trustee Edwards?
Thank you. Unlike some of the other municipalities, Ajax has quite a few schools that are basically compared to the other municipalities that are under-enrolled. And we do have a couple of properties as well in Ajax. I just wanted to, if you could comment around, especially new legislation and also the fact that, there's supposed to be a promise, I've heard, around PARG, being able to do accommodation reviews about dealing with some of the issues within Ajax, in particular in the enrollment, because we have a couple of schools that are quite over capacity, and we have a few schools that are definitely under-enrolled. And then the disposal of sites, being able to, the new legislation of possibly disposing of sites. So capacity, whether we will be able to continue keeping those sites, and how we can deal with some of the enrollment issues, inequity of enrollment, where the low and high capacities within Ajax in the future, because some of the schools are pretty tight and others are really low.
Great, thank you. You are certainly correct. Ajax is probably the municipality where we have the greatest sort of lows and highs, as it were, partly due to the age of the development that has occurred over the last 20 to 30 years. We're confident that we can maintain the sites that we have, even with the legislation coming in, based on the development that we know is coming. There's a lot of development that the municipality has announced, It has been slower. I think Ajax was a municipality that was not able to meet its target last year when we looked at the housing indicator, housing starts indicator that the province does. But that doesn't mean it's not coming. It means that it has been moved out. I know there are infrastructure issues, and as that funding comes into municipalities, I think you will see an acceleration of the development. So we are confident that we can make a solid business case to keep those sites going forward. With regard to the schools that are underutilized at this time, underutilized schools can always be revitalized by becoming partner schools with development, because we know how long it takes to get a site, get capital priorities, and get those new schools built. So certainly having those schools available where we can put students in classrooms rather than in portables is certainly a bonus. And it also revitalizes and keeps the school full. So we think there's a lot of options, and we will explore those definitely in the accommodation plan.
Trustee Pinello?
Thank you, Chair, through you. Thank you for the report. I enjoyed looking through the numbers and seeing the breakdown. I think it really illustrates what I think we're already hearing and understanding, particularly when we go and visit some schools. But this might be more of a crystal ball question. But when I'm looking at 2029 projections, Elsie McGill in Oshawa is one such of those more extreme schools that is projected over 1,000. It's also one of the ones that we took our MPP to school. And I am just thinking about the rate at which Oshawa is growing. And knowing that we've got new builds opening this year and next year, which is very exciting, I hesitantly ask whether we actually think we're in a good position to keep up with the current rate of growth, assuming that all the area that can be developed and that they want to develop is developed. And I ask just because I know that while Elsie McGill had some beautiful classrooms that we thought, wow, these seem so spacious, being a newer school, doubling the capacity would very quickly turn those into smaller spaces. And then you start thinking about how many portables would you be able to fit on a property that still has a set number of utilities and all of these things. So I guess I'm just trying to see if in looking ahead you've thought of, I'm sure you have, in looking ahead if realistically we are going to be able to house all of these students in the infrastructure and the space that we have, even if we get creative with portables, because I know it's a little overwhelming to see new neighborhoods popping up all the time on my drives through the city, and it's exciting, but it feels like we'll never quite catch up. Maybe that's just me.
Great, thank you. Certainly, Elsie McGill, is, anticipated to have, or potentially to have quite an increase in enrollment. It has also formed or been pressed into service, shall I say, as a partner school. So some of those students that are in there now, when we do open, new builds up in Oshawa, they will be part of a boundary review, and they will go off to a new school. We also know that in the very near future, we're going to have to look for capital priorities opportunities further north in North Oshawa as the Kedron planning area comes online, as well as, and then beyond that, the Columbus planning area. So we do have quite a number of sites up that way, and I think we'll see as development increases, we will seek capital priorities opportunities, which will take the pressure off, and we won't have to put that many students in Elsie McGill. We'll see, I think, the first shift when we do the boundary review next fall for Symington and Steeplechase, the unnamed Oshawa school there, and staff will look at the entire area, and as we propose a boundary for there will be a ripple effect in a number of schools that have been partner schools for growth up in North Oshawa.
Trustee Cunningham?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I noticed a pattern in here that single-track French immersion schools, most of them seem to be under-enrolled. And maybe this is part of the discussion around kindergarten in there, but I just wondered if you could speak to the under-enrollment there, if there's something going on there that we should know about. I don't know what my question is because I don't know what I don't know in order to ask.
Thank you for your question. I'm going to defer to Associate Director Wright either to speak to it now, or we have an agenda item on the French immersion, the effect. You are correct in that we are under capacity in most of the single track schools, but I don't know if we want to address that now or.
You're kind of spoiling the surprise, Trustee Cunningham. I think the question could be answered in either, but why don't we hold it till the next report if you're okay with that, because maybe it'll answer some of your questions, but it'll be totally open to debate or discussion in the FI report.
Are there any more questions from trustees? Okay, I will move to the final updates on the implementation of the 2024-25 Math Achievement Action Plan. And I will ask Superintendent Mohammed Hamid.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, the report can be found on page 45 of your package. We are pleased to be here this evening to share the final update on the implementation of the 2024-2025 Math Achievement Action Plan. This report reflects the collaborative work taking place across our priority schools to strengthen math instruction, deepen professional learning, and foster classroom environments where students can confidently engage with mathematical thinking. We'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the commitment of educators, school leaders, coaches, and central staff who have worked collaboratively to bring this plan to life over the past year. Their focus on inclusive, high-impact practices and their responsiveness to student needs have been central to the progression we're seeing. Through the year, they've worked intentionally to implement these practices, using student expression and data to guide planning and build shared ownership for improvement across schools. The results captured in the report are not just about numbers, but about the relationships, the routines, the conditions for learning, and the structures that support real growth, both in educator capacity and student achievement. We are also mindful that lasting change in education, particularly in mathematics, requires time, reflection, and persistence. The foundation laid this year is a significant step in a longer journey, and we are proud of the groundwork that has been established. We appreciate the opportunity to provide this update to you, and thank you for your continued support as we collectively advance meaningful, high-impact math learning across our schools.
Thank you. Are there any questions from trustees? Trustee Thatcher?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that there were some really positive things that came out of this report, just to mention a couple that jumped out at me, that we have some resources and insights that were very successful, and so we'll be providing those to schools in the district and also providing professional development around those as well. The second thing was that there were resources, key resources, that were piloted by some of the priority schools, and those will be made available because of their success to all priority schools in the future. I do have just a question for clarification, because she mentioned what was mentioned was real growth, but it did indicate in the report that provincial assessment scores would continue to reflect plateauing or even decline in some schools. And I'm just wondering if there could be some clarification around that. And the second part of that question would be, how will we expect to see the success of the priority school students reflected?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. And thank you, Trustee Thatcher. So the notion is that we anticipate that some provincial scores may continue to plateau, and we may see some that decline. We do know that this type of work does take time. It is sustained, deep work. We are hopeful that we start to turn the corner and we start to see some growth. But we do recognize that this type of, as mentioned, this type of change in education does require a bit of time, it does require a bit of patience, and it does require a bit of persistence. So not that we're anticipating decline. I don't want you to feel that that's what was written, but we are hopeful that we start to see some improvement, no doubt. Did that answer the question, Trustee Thatcher?
Trustee Thatcher, is there a supplemental?
Yes, thank you. It did answer the first part of my question. Thank you for clarifying that. The second part was where can we expect to see what is it? I lost my paper here. The success of the priority school students reflected. Where will we see that in the future?
So hopefully you'll see it in provincial test scores. Hopefully you'll see it in presentations that we'll be bringing to the board. Hopefully you'll see it in some of the other opportunities that we are going to be raising, the student work that's happening at priority schools here at the board, in the board meetings. We hope to see it through some of the other data that we get through some of our climate surveys, through any of the other qualitative and through report card scores, through the updates that we typically bring around student achievement that's reflected in the ministry student achievement plans. That's where we would be hopefully seeing that.
Thank you. I will now move on to the impact of the removal of kindergarten from single-tracked French immersion schools. And I'll hand that over to Associate Director David Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Concerns came forward from one of our single-track French immersion school communities, one school community in particular, in relation to the trend of their enrollment. But upon review, a number of our single-track French immersion schools are experiencing similar enrollment trends. More than one of our single-track French immersion schools have similar utilizations. DDSB offers a French immersion program at 18 schools. 8 of those are currently single-track French immersion schools. And those schools have come to be in different ways. So out of those 8 single-track French immersion schools, 4 were purpose-built single-track schools, and 4 were transitioned from dual-track programs to single-track schools. Uxbridge Public School was the most recent school to be transitioned to a single-track French immersion school. That took place in 2015. So there is a little bit more analysis in the report specific to UPS because of that and because of the specific concerns raised there. The motion driving this report included the notion of impact on programming. And you'll see programming wasn't particularly addressed in this report because we are maintaining our commitment to French immersion. We are not currently considering any changes to the French immersion program. And because of that, the data in this report is really focused on enrollment. We have pulled together information for you in this report to highlight what has been happening with enrollment, but we are reluctant to say that we have provided an analysis of trends because it appears to us as though we don't have enough data to say with any confidence that we have trends. So trends require 5 points of data to confirm. 1 as a starting point, 2 as an indication if there is a direction of travel or change. The 3rd data point begins to show an emerging trend if the direction continues, and then data points 4 and 5 confirm or refute that changing trend. So though we obviously have 5+ years of historical data, there were 2 critical events that had transpired within the last 5-year window that really do discount any ability to trend. You'll recall that COVID paid us a visit in March 2020, and that by September 2020, schools looked very different. We did see an appreciable impact on the F5 program beginning that September. We saw both a reduction of students registering into the program as well as an increase in students moving out of the program. Those were things that we saw both in single track and dual track schools. The second critical event was that each single-track French immersion school, which was organized with 2 kindergarten classes, were removed. So the 2 kindergarten classes were removed based on a French immersion program review report that was brought forward to trustees. That change was fully engaged for September 2023. So we do know a few things. We know that it's going to take a few years to get over the COVID blip. We know that September 2025 grade 1 enrollment is anticipated to be the beginning of the rebound in French immersion, but that French immersion enrollment projections are based on an average of the previous 3 years of enrollment, and so the COVID impact is still influencing our enrollment outlook, and that means that for the 26-27 school year, we will actually see the first year that the lockdown years don't have an impact on our projections. We'll be able to get a better sense of French immersion enrollment trajectory, which way we're heading after having 1 more year of data. But realistically, we may require more data and more data points to get a comfortable sense of trending. We know that acting rashly may not lead in the best or most sustainable outcome. For example, reverting back to having 2 kindergarten classes in every single track French immersion school may not be the best in terms of equity of access, and it may not be the best long-term viable approach. So based on the assumption, and I would really appreciate feedback, or we would appreciate feedback from trustees on this, based on the assumption that the problem we are trying to solve is to find a sustainable way to balance enrollment across schools and across the FI programs. The clear reality at this point is from our attempted analysis that we don't have enough data to do an adequate job of providing any sort of recommendation for you at this time. We do require some runway to gather more data and a little bit of time to really dig into it. So to Trustee Cunningham's earlier point, we are noticing an overall decline in enrollment in those single-track FI schools. We think the problem to solve is to balance the enrollment of our schools, take the pressure off overutilized facilities and help out the underutilized facilities. So would appreciate again your feedback this evening, confirming that that's the direction you'd like us to take, and then a little bit of patience as we work through the fall, picking up the 1 more data set in September, so what the enrollment actually looks like on the ground when we begin school next year. We'll be able to do some analysis over the fall, bring another report back to you early in the winter in time for kindergarten enrollment for next year. But quite frankly, we may not have enough data then. That will be 3 years of data. We may not have enough data then to see a real clear picture, but that would be the time we'd bring an update to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from trustees? I see Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, appreciate the answer. I think what I was looking for was that in the future, you'll be able to do enrollment projections without the blip of COVID. So that was really helpful, and that answered my question really well. So I didn't take that away from the French immersion report for whatever reason, but now it's in my head, so thank you.
Vice Chair Oldfield.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. It's not a question, but I think you were actually asking for feedback or opinion. As you know, Chair Brown and I have been doing SCC tours, and we have heard from some parents this idea that you've proposed where we use the space in those schools now to alleviate some of the overcapacity in our other schools. So there are parents out there who have actually suggested this, are looking at this, because as you know, it's a challenge in elementary schools to have these over capacity schools. So I support it wholeheartedly. I think it makes great sense if we have space and we have lack of space somewhere else, that if it works, you know, obviously we don't want to be engaging in something too complicated, but if something makes sense that we can do, I think I support it, and certainly we've heard from parents that they are interested in this as well.
Thank you. I'll move to Trustee Morton.
Thank you. I want to mention that I brought forward this motion because my concerns were twofold. Number one, I had concerns about the decision that we made a few years ago regarding kindergarten in FY schools. I could see in some of our schools that the enrollment in French immersion was decreasing. I also see that in some of our neighboring schools that they were over capacity. Those are two concerns. In your previous report, you talked about Uxbridge Public School having the capacity of 443. Presently, they've got approximately 250 students, and looking at 4 years down the road, if we continue, they're going to decrease to 206. 206 out of a possible 443. But another Uxbridge school, Joseph Gould, has a capacity of 567, and they're expected to increase to 644. So those are my concerns, but I also want to say that I'm very pleased with the amount of work that you've done and your intent of having a recommendation for trustees in time for kindergarten registration for September 26th. A lot of our parents in the Uxbridge community will be very happy to hear that. Thank you for your work.
Trustee Edwards?
Thank you. And again, because we somewhat had the discussion around the Ajax schools so before, as far as under enrollment, the highs and the lows. And I appreciate you basically coming back in basically before kindergarten registration, but also recognize that maybe that you could, although we would like to do something as overall as a policy of as far as FI schools, but recognizing the flexibility that you'll be able to do to accommodate some of the unique situations in each of the municipalities would be appreciated when you come forward in with those recommendations around accommodations before kindergarten registration starts. Thank you.
Trustee Thatcher?
Thank you. And thank you for the report. It was a very interesting reading, and there was a lot of information in there. It was last term of office. I was just kind of reflecting. It was the last term of office that we did an extensive review of the French program at that time. We did that because we were experiencing heavy enrollment in the French immersion program generally, and we were basically trying to avoid the lottery system, which, well, none of us voted in favor of that. So we did that, and then COVID hit, as you mentioned. Since COVID, though, I noticed in some of the schools in Brooklyn and in Whitby that just after COVID, where we would have initially seen an increase, higher numbers in the French, in the dual track schools, higher numbers in the French and lower in the English, what happened is that we ended up with 50-50 at that point, French and English. I can speak to the fact that, and I think I did mention it earlier, Julie Payette at the moment is about at 87% capacity. We have lost 14 students from Meadowcrest who've left the program, and Brooklyn Village, the last time I was in the school, I thought it was still around 50-50, but I'm hearing from you that the French enrollment is increasing. What I'm hearing from parents is that, and the example is Brooklyn Village and Meadowcrest. So their children are currently in Brooklyn Village in kindergarten programs. Then they want to move them into a French immersion program. So that that student, that child, moves to Meadowcrest, which is their home school. Another child then starts in kindergarten in Brooklyn Village. The problem is that now what happens is that there are 2 schools and 2 buses which are picked up at different areas. And so that's just kind of one of the issues that I'm seeing with families. And some have made the decision to keep their children in the English program so that they don't have to deal with the issue of running in several different directions. So thank you, though, for the report. I feel that it's a really good idea for us to take a look in September here to see what the enrollment is. And I'll be watching to see how things come down. So thank you again.
Going to go to Trustee Jacula.
Thank you. I really like that we offer the French immersion programs, and I remember when my son, he's in grade 5 now, when we were looking at the kindergartens, I remember we got a lot of communication from the board via emails that we're essentially promoting or advertising the French immersion program, and I'm wondering if the board still sends those out, because we really looked at it and debated about what to do, and I thought that those emails and all the content was really, really informative. So I'm wondering if we still have those communications go out at all.
Thank you, and through you, Trustee Jacula, there's a variety of communication structures that our FSL department uses. So outside of the communications that you're discussing, we actually also have family evenings to inform the program. So to answer your question, absolutely we do. And we've actually differentiated the approach over the years to provide access points for families.
Thank you. I will now go to Trustee Morton.
I had her hand up.
Or Trustee Arsenal.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I just had one quick question. If we do remove the kindergartens from the single-track French immersion program, schools, and there are children in the neighborhood that want to go to a French immersion schools, are we supporting them with busing?
Thanks for the question, Trustee Arsenault, through you, Madam Chair. We have dual boundaries for our schools, so we have a regular English boundary and a larger French immersion program boundary. So all students are covered by both boundaries, and it would be similar rules. So if students fell within a French immersion boundary and were within the walk distance, transportation would not be provided. But if they were outside of the walk distance and their French immersion boundary and wanted to attend a French immersion program school, then they would receive transportation.
Thank you so much. I just want to say I am in favor of the removal of the single track French immersion program. This report was very thorough, and I do see where, things have made changes, and who knows, they could change again, but we do have to do something about the situation we're in currently. And I think this is the way to go. Thank you so much.
Trustee Morton?
Thank you. I will be brief. I just want to go back to a comment that Trustee Edwards made, that the policy is for the entire Durham District School Board. But Trustee Edwards suggested that perhaps we could look at municipalities because they are all unique, and maybe we need to look at the needs of each of those municipalities. That's my recommendation. Thank you.
Are there any other questions at this time? Thank you, trustees. So we will move to Anti-Black Racism Advisory Committee Annual Summary Report, and I will go to Superintendent Jacqueline Williams-Leacock.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I'm bringing this report to provide the Board of Trustees a summary of meetings and activities of the Anti-Black Racism Advisory Committee for this school year. This report can be referenced on pages 121 to 127 of your package. The Anti-Black Racism Advisory Committee is composed of 4 community members, 2 trustees, and 3 DDSB staff. The work of the ABRAC aligns with and contributes to the advancing the multi-year strategic plan priorities of meaningful learning, connected communities, and well-being. The purpose of the ABRAC is to consider and make policy recommendations to the Board of Trustees, and the committee met 8 times over the 24-25 school year. The ABRAC has conducted a comprehensive review of the DDSB human rights, anti-discrimination, and anti-racism policy to identify issues, potential gaps, and opportunities for improvement. The committee also reviewed the Ontario Human Rights Commission's Anti-Black Racism in Education Compendium of Recommendations and explored how select recommendations from the report can enhance DDSB's efforts to identify, address, and dismantle anti-Black racism. At the final meeting of the ABRAC in May, the committee began outlining future directions and key priorities for 2025-26. We would like to recognize that retired Superintendent Margaret Lazarus was instrumental in the work of the ABRAC this year. Thank you.
Are there any questions from trustees? Seeing none, I will now move to the Human Rights Advisory Committee Annual Summary Report, and that's from Associate Director Jimmy Markowski.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Brown, the report begins on page 128 of your package this evening. This is the annual report that's being shared on behalf of the Human Rights Advisory Committee. The purpose of the report was to provide the Board of Trustees with information in relation to the mandate of the Human Rights Advisory Committee and the outcome of meetings held over the 24-25 school year. This year, the Human Rights Advisory Committee was in the early exploratory phase of its mandate. Over the past 8 months, the committee has undertaken a review of the DDSB's human rights, anti-discrimination, and anti-racism policy to clarify common understandings, identify potential gaps, and opportunities for implementation and impact. The Human Rights Advisory Committee has begun outlining future directions and identifying key priorities for the 25-26 school year, with a focus on setting clear, achievable, and community-informed outcomes. And we hope to be back in a year from now and have representation from our committee in that board report that will come in 2026. And that is the end of our report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from trustees? Seeing none, we will move now to the OBSPA update and Trustee Kelly Miller.
Thank you, Chair. We had our OBSA meeting in June, from June 12th to June 15th. Its annual general meeting. And on Friday, June 13th, attendants received an inspirational presentation by keynote Carl Saban entitled Raise Your Roof, Strategies for Leaders to Unlock Success and Create Meaningful Change. There was a key emphasis on leadership and turning challenges into opportunities. A panel from the Niagara District School Board discussed how strategic teamwork and focusing on key priority areas of their multi-year strategic plan allowed them to effectively allocate budget and resources to make gains in student achievement and well-being. The chair of the Niagara District School Board also shared how student trustees are mentored and engaged in the multi-year strategic plan throughout the year. Identifying capacity for teamwork has made a positive impact on student success in their board. Another highlight in this is a workshop on board self-assessment and evaluation. Attendants received a draft document with key example areas, including assessing strategic plan, communication, and relationships. A civics workshop provided what makes it difficult to have a difficult discussions, and shared tools and resources to school boards for facilitating difficult discussions.
Trustees who attended the session were able to use one of the tools to discuss a difficult topic. They also held the elections, and our results from the elections are as such. Jan Johnston from the Blue Water District School Board became the first vice president. Jane Klasenjenga re-elected as Central East Chair, Dr. Elizabeth Sinclair as our Central East Vice Chair, and our Black Trustees Caucus Chair Debbie King from Toronto District School Board, and Vice Chair Dr. Elizabeth Sinclair. The next Board of Directors meeting will be held in September of 2025.
Thank you. Are there any questions from trustees? Okay, seeing none, I will move on to the report. Approved minutes of the Governance and Policy Committee meeting of April 30th, 2025. And back over to Trustee Miller.
Through you, Chair Brown, I'm bringing forward the approved minutes of the April 30th, 2025 Governance and Policy Committee meeting. It is included in pages 133 to 137 of the agenda, and I will be happy to take questions from trustees.
Are there any questions from trustees? Seeing none, I will now move to the report. Approved minutes of the Special Education Advisory Committee meeting of May 1st, 2025. And I will go to Trustee Edwards.
Thank you. The approved minutes of the Special Education Advisory Committee meeting of May 1st can be found through pages 138 to 145. Much of what we discussed was actually presented today as far as we did have input into the special education plan, which was approved tonight's meeting. We were invited to the abilities meet, which you saw in the highlights as far as the board highlights as well. The one thing was that the Inclusive Students did present the impact update on the area of speech and language services, which also is linked in your report. And that's my report. Thank you.
Are there any questions from trustees? Seeing none, we will move on to our correspondence. We have one letter from Food for Good included as correspondence in the agenda tonight. Are there any questions from trustees? Yep. Trustee Edwards, sorry.
I recognize that this is talking about the type of food that is provided as far as schools, but I just wanted to note that the National Food Coalition, School Food Coalition has been doing a visioning session, and members of OPSPA have been attending. They're looking at coordinating basically food programs across the province and goals and structures. We're anticipating a report from those vision sessions somewhere in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Edwards. No more questions. We have 3 memos included in the agenda tonight. Are there any questions from trustees related to the memos? Trustee Edwards.
Thank you. It's so great to see the variety of programs that are being offered during the summer for our students. Much appreciated the summary. I just noted that there are 28, there are 28 grade beginning programs that are offered. Is it possible for for trustees to sort of get an idea where the programs are going to be offered, as well as just wondering where the registration information is being posted so that students, parents, and caregivers can get the information, because that seems to be sometimes an issue, is communication around how to apply or how to get into the programs. Thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, I'm happy to take that question. We're happy to provide a list to trustees of the schools for your information. And specifically to the registration, there was reach out that happened specifically to priority schools, specifically for that reason, just to make sure that folks were made aware of it. And priority space was held for our priority schools as well, and continues to be held.
Thank you. We can go to Trustee Thatcher.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention, I think it's worthwhile mentioning around the multi-year strategic plan update, because that's a very extensive report that was provided to us. I just want to say that it's great to see the tremendous support that we have, even through our PIC report tonight. Tremendous support for our multi-year strategic plan, which of course is, outlines our long-term goals.
Thank you. Any more questions? No. So we'll move to the dates of significance. Please note the dates of significance for June, July and August are included in the agenda for information. Are there any questions from trustees? Seeing no further business, can I please have a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Vice Chair Oldfield. Thank you, Trustee Panello. All in favour? This meeting is now over.